The striped pony chewed thoughtfully. My guess is it wasn't Zebra, so some pony else has a behemoth-class tank after you. Well, that's so much better, P21 muttered sarcastically. Actually, it is. One tank is pretty easy to avoid if you're careful, but you get a few dozen foot soldiers pinning you down so that it can blow you to pieces, and you'd better hope your air support is top-notch. The striped mare said matter-of-factly. As I was telling Suja and Minty, you can't just throw a single. Then she blinked as she looked around. Wait, something's the matter. I saw the pupils contract. Twist. Don't panic. Please. What? What's happening? Where am I? This isn't Marimare. Where's Peppermint? What happened to her? She began looking around wildly. Where are they? This is a hospital. Are they hurt? What's going on? I sighed. I couldn't have her freaking out now, in the middle of Ten Pony Tower. Rampage! Please don't make me have to hunt down a gun to sedate you. I sure didn't want to find out how busted my horn was. The pink eyes blinked as she stared at me in horror, and then slowly they relaxed. She closed her eyes and slumped, hugging her head. No blood anywhere? That's a good sign. You just went out again. It wasn't bad, I added quickly, and she looked relieved for that. You were talking all military and stuff? I frowned a moment as I looked around. Scotch suppressed a yawn as I asked, So, where's Lacuna? The professor's quarters, P21 replied. An alicorn, a sand dog, and a cyberzoni's severed head. Sounds like the start of a bad joke. I had to wonder about his sense of humor. Ponies is bad joke, growled Rover from the doorway. Is done. Is okay. I rose to my hooves and slowly walked towards the aged canine. His cybernetic eye followed my steps carefully as I staggered. Pony is doing all wrong. Do not think of walking, Pony. Walk. Legs is smarter than Pony. I can't help it. My legs want to do something else, I said as I looked down at them. I'm tripping over my own hooves. I protested as the damned things twitched under me. He just sighed and rolled his filmy eye. I sighed too as I looked at him, then past him at Glory and the brown buck. Look, I just wanted to say thank you, to all of you, for everything. It's just, right now, it feels all muddled up. I'm trying to sort it all out. Ponies is always whining, Rover growled, shaking his head and then shuddering as he closed his eyes. Always the whining. Then he pointed a mechanical finger at me. Pony has better legs now, like Dog. Dog makes best pony legs ever. Better than Professor Pony. Why did you help? P21 asked with a small frown. He looked at the blue buck and snorted. Pony take home. Dog work under city. Many accident. Many. Pony not care about dogs. Professor care. She make new leg. Strong leg. Show dogs how make. Make organ and parts so dog can do job and live. When bombs fall, dogs use metal parts to survive. Not become twisted. Not become hellhound. Stay dog. Stay sane. So she say she need dog help. Dog help. He growled and pointed a finger at P21. Dog remembers promises and favors. Well, thank you, I replied as I looked at my body. My synthetic limbs were some sort of light metal painted with a matte white enamel. The forelegs ended all the way up at my shoulders, but the metal of the hind legs stopped just below my cutie mark. I still had my lucky, well, relatively lucky queen and ace. I'll try to remember too. Then I laughed. At least I have hooves again. For a while there, I thought I was going to grow. I froze as 4 white digits extended from my hoof and flexed before my eyes. Ah, I have fingers! Rover snorted, and I swore he was smirking. Thumbs is better, Pony. Pony will see. Come, let's get you to the cargo elevator, the brown buck said. Crazy times in Ten Pony, I swear. He smiled, though, as if not quite welcoming this craziness. Then he pointed a hoof at me. "Stay here, please. At least a dozen hours for observation. After working on you for 3 days, last thing we need is one of those cybernetic organs to be rejected." He escorted Rover from the clinic. Given how dark it was outside, I figured most of the tower was asleep. Glory gave a tired yawn, and all my friends seemed likewise bushed. "Do you have somewhere to stay?" I asked as I looked at them. "The Twilight Society provided a room," P-21 said with a little frown. I agreed with his expression. The Twilight Society of Ten Pony Tower definitely wanted something from me. I had to wonder if I was going to do about it. He fought another yawn. "We were worried. I mean, after 3 days, we weren't sure you were going to be coming back, or if you did, that you'd be, you know, you." Glory bit her lip as she peeked at me from behind her falling mane. "You said, any way to save you." "That didn't involve sanguine," I finished for her. I looked at the white appendages sticking out of the end of my right leg, and bashed it a few times with my left. Finally, there was a click, and the fingers retracted. I really wished there was some sort of manual or something. "Your new mechanical body and you." Finally, I smiled and looked into her eyes. A real smile. "You did good," I said as I nuzzled her cheek. "I really thought it was toast." "You were," Glory said pointedly, with a sigh before kissing me back. "After 2 days of fiddling with you, I was seriously about to track down some zebra witch doctor or something to bring you back." She sighed as she held me in a tight hug, kissing the side of my neck. "Do you remember anything? While you were out, I mean." "No, not really. Something about stars, I think," I said softly before I pulled back. Blood smeared her forelegs, and she looked like she needed a good long day of rest. "Why don't you go clean up and catch some shut-eye? I'll try and figure out stuff." I forced a smile as a crosshair appeared on her forehead. "You know, while it's quiet." "You promise you won't get into trouble?" Glory asked. What was I, a fool? What kind of trouble could I get into here at Ten Pony Tower? "I think Helping Hoof would be okay if I slept in here." I sighed, shaking my head as I tried to carefully stroke her cheek. Glory, in a bed, a clean bed, with a shower and a toilet. I sighed again. Now I was really wishing that I could go with her. Maybe I can leave Helping Hoof a note? I looked at the enamel coating my limbs. Hopefully they were waterproof. "Already disobeying doctor's orders? It's his clinic. Try to follow." She yawned and swayed. Rampage caught her before she staggered. "I think we should all go," P-21 muttered as he rubbed his eyes. "It's late. Or early. Somewhere between the two." He pointed to some boxes on the corner. "Your things are over there, along with a bunch of stuff folks gave us to give you. We were going to do a party, but I don't think any pony expected you to pull through so early." "You all go ahead. There's not much I can do anyway, besides figuring out complicated skills like walking. And according to the refreshing familiar face in my pip buck, I wouldn't need to sleep again for a few more days. Minimum." After watching my friends leave, I walked back to the operating room, every third step sending me staggering as I overcorrected. I felt a stab of guilt at the bloody mass left behind. I had to do something about it. I looked around the back room and found the janitor's closet. I stared at the door handle and concentrated. I knitted my brows, grit my teeth, and crossed my eyes trying to get my horn to work. Just as much nothing as when Lacuna first regrew it. I was a horn-headed earth pony now. I sighed, opening the door with my hooves, found a bucket and filled it up, and added some Abronco detergent. I started to clean up the blood that smeared the floor and operating table. On a counter was a large jar covered in a sheet, a monitor machine next to it. The talisman hummed as it beeped softly. I was halfway through cleanup and probably making more of a mess in the process when the brown book returned. He looked at me in surprise as I squeezed out the dirty sponge between my hooves. You know we have janitors for that. It's my fault there's a mess. The least I can do is clean it up, I said softly as I scrubbed the floor. He looked at me curiously. Actually, most of it was from Rover removing her head. Say what you will for neatness, those claws of his can sure dismember a pony. He said he's got a sponge as well. You don't have to do that, I said as I started cleaning up the mess from the other side. It's no trouble, he began. You don't have to do that, I snapped. I stared at him in shock. I looked down at the dirty floor, my eyes targeting soapy bubbles now. No pony should be troubled on my account. I'll clean up. He just stood there for almost a minute, watching me as I worked. You really hate yourself, don't you, Blackjack? I stared at him for a moment, half in confusion and half in fear. You don't think we should have saved you, do you? I'm glad Glory did, I said as I looked back at the mess I was making worse. No doubt. She's happy, which makes you happy. In fact, if Glory wanted you dead, you'd probably shoot yourself just to make her happy. Helping Hoof said with a little chuckle. What I mean is, you don't think you deserve to be saved, do you? I didn't answer. I just sloshed the dirty water as I stared down at the sponge. Finally, I said quietly, there are better ponies. Ponies who should be back. I sighed softly, closing my eyes. Scoodle, radishes, mallet, tar boots, elder crunchy carrots, roses, thorn. I clenched my jaw. Marmalade, rivets, midnight, mom. So why is it that I get to die and come back, yet they get to stay dead? I wanted to gasp. I wanted my heart to pound. Instead, everything inside me went still. The professor, Glory, my friends, every pony, they all think I'm special. That somehow I'm important or better or something. How can they think that? I asked as I just stared at him. I've screwed up so many times. How is that I'm worth giving a second chance? Helping Hoof just chuckled and shook his head. Because folks like you, Blackjack. You're a good pony. Am not, I muttered, squeezing out the sponge. I'm not special at all. He sighed and then barely suppressed a yawn. You don't feel you're worth the help others give you. You feel that there's some pony better who should get it. So you feel guilty, and when half the hoof springs to action to help you, you feel bad because you don't think you deserve it. I looked at him curiously. I hadn't thought of that. He asked for a minute. Do you think your friends show good judgment, Blackjack? That's a good question. P21 follows me into irradiated tunnels. I've shot Rampage in the head on more than one occasion, and Glory loves me. He laughed as he squeezed out his sponge. I smiled despite myself. Honestly, I think Lacuna's the smartest one of us all. But on average, I say my friends have better judgment than me. Then trust their judgment. If they, and so many others, think that bringing you back was the right thing to do, then trust it. Accept it's good and worthwhile. He smiled. But if you insist on cleaning up, then by all means. I'll be in my office. I watched as he stood, dumped the bucket of dirty water into the sink, set the bucket down, and started to leave. I blinked as I watched him go. So, you're going to let me just clean it up on my own?